Welcome. So what if I told you that getting rich isn't about luck or connections or even raw talent? What if it's an exact science, with laws just as real and predictable as gravity or algebra? Well, that's the wild, radical claim made way back in 1910 by this book, The Science of Getting Rich. Now, this text basically became the blueprint for a lot of modern movements like the law of attraction and books you've probably heard of like The Secret. Today, we're going to break down its core ideas and see what all the fuss is about.
Right off the bat, Wallace D. Wattles just flips the whole script on wealth. He's arguing that wanting to be rich has nothing to do with greed. No, he says it's actually this fundamental, totally natural, and even noble impulse. It's the desire for a better, fuller life, to experience more beauty, more growth, and more power in our lives. And that, he says, is something to be praised, not ashamed of.
Okay, so let's dig into the book's first really big idea. And it is a bold one. It's not just that being rich is acceptable. Wattles says it's your fundamental right, and maybe even your moral duty. Let's see how he gets there. He basically breaks down our existence into these three parts: body, mind, and soul. And his whole argument hinges on this. You can't fully develop any of them without material things. I mean, to really live for your mind, you need books, you need to travel, you need intellectual companionship. To live for your soul, you need love, and he says love finds its best expression through giving. And to do any of that, well, you need money. So for Wattles, being rich isn't a luxury, it's a prerequisite for living a complete and successful life.
All right, so if we all have a right to be rich, why isn't everyone wealthy? Wattles has a pretty simple answer. We've all been taught to focus on completely the wrong things.
And this is the central mystery the book tries to solve, right? If there's a formula, if it's a science, why doesn't everyone just use it? Why does wealth seem to be the exception and not the rule for so many people?
Wattles just systematically starts knocking down all the usual excuses. He says it's not your environment, because you see rich and poor people living right next to each other. It's not some genius-level talent, because we all know brilliant people who are broke and less talented people who get rich. It's not about being a penny pincher or what business you're in or even the money you start with. None of those are the real cause.
So if it's none of those things, what on earth is left? Well, according to Wattles, it all boils down to one simple thing: your method. He argues that wealth isn't about who you are or where you come from. It's about doing things in a certain way. And he claims this way is so precise that if you follow it to the letter, getting rich is a mathematical certainty.
Okay, and here's where we get to the science part of the title. This is the metaphysical bedrock for his entire system. I know, it's a pretty abstract concept, but for Wattles, this is the fundamental law of the entire universe.
He basically says that everything we see, the stars, the earth, gold, diamonds, you, me, everything is made from one single original substance. He calls it the formless substance or thinking stuff. And here's the kicker. This stuff isn't just passive goo. It's intelligent. It thinks. It's alive with this constant, creative energy just waiting for direction. So this whole theory really rests on three core beliefs that Wattles basically asks you to accept on faith. First, that this thinking stuff is real. Second, that a thought held inside this substance physically creates the thing it's thinking about. And finally, and this is the absolute game changer, that you, as a thinking person, can impress your thoughts onto this substance and literally cause things to be created in the real world.
So how in the world do you apply this? Well, the very first step is a massive shift in how you think. You have to move from what he calls the competitive mind to the creative mind.
And this slide just illustrates the difference perfectly. The competitive mind sees a world of scarcity. It thinks there's only one pie, and for you to get a bigger slice, someone else has to get a smaller one. It's a zero-sum game. But the creative mind, it believes the supply from that formless substance is infinite. You don't have to take anything from anyone. Your job isn't to compete for existing wealth, it's to create new wealth from scratch.
And this leads us to the core mental practice. It all starts with forming a crystal clear, super definite mental picture of what you want. But just daydreaming isn't enough. You have to lock onto that vision with an unshakable purpose to get it, and a powerful, unwavering faith that it's already yours on some level. And finally, you have to cultivate this deep, continuous feeling of gratitude, being thankful for it right now, as if you're already holding it in your hands. Now, it would be really easy to mistake all this for just a mental exercise, right? Just positive thinking. But Wattles is very, very clear. Thinking sets the creative forces in motion, but it doesn't deliver the package to your door.
To get what you want, you have to connect that powerful thought with practical, personal action.
This quote is the perfect bridge. Think of it like this. Your thoughts, your purpose, and your faith are like placing an order online. The creative forces of the universe start working to bring that package to you, but it's your personal action that is you getting up, going to the door, and actually receiving it when it arrives.
And the rules for action are super specific. You have to start now, not tomorrow, not when you get a better job, now, in your current environment, with whatever is in front of you. The goal is to do all that can be done each and every day and to do every single task as efficiently as possible. And here's a really key principle. In every single transaction, your goal should be to give every person more in real-world use value than you get from them in cash value. You have to be a source of growth and advancement for everyone you interact with.
And this final quote just ties the whole philosophy together beautifully. It's a formula. Wealth, according to Waddles, isn't some random lottery. It's a direct result of these 4 mental qualities. And it really leaves us with a provocative and pretty powerful question. What if our outer world of wealth is simply a mirror, perfectly reflecting the clarity and conviction of our inner one?